Yo, what's up everybody? I hope you're all doing well. So I've just been thinking about something because when I've done like deadlifts before, I've noticed that my form always seems to be a bit off. And yeah, so I'm going to talk a bit about that and what I'm probably going to do in the future. And yeah, so hope everyone's well. Good morning to you all. So yeah, I did a crazy workout last night. It was good though. It feels good. It's good to like push yourself, push your strength, your cardio, all that. So I like to feel like I'm pushing myself and not just slacking. I used to be the complete opposite. I used to be quite lazy and I used to play on video games and stuff like that and just try and be lazy. I remember like when I'd come to sit down, I literally just like I wouldn't even just like lower myself. I would just like collapse down onto the sofa. It was just I was quite lazy back then. But that's like kind of probably about 15 years ago or something, like back when I was about 15 or so. So yeah, hope everyone's well anyway. So I was saying about, so like I said, with like deadlifting, I find it difficult to try and maintain good form with it. Like I was looking at sort of like, because I've seen some of my videos and stuff and people have made comments on it. Well, someone made a comment about, I don't know if someone said anything about form or something, but I've seen a lot of people talk about it with like similar form and how that's bad, which has to do with rounding of the back, especially the lower back. That is apparently where people tend to get a lot of injuries, is the lower back. And if that is rounded, that increases the risk of any kind of injury in that area. But there was this guy called Runner Boy who was saying that, oh, it's okay to round the back as long as you don't, round it as you're coming up or something like that. Round and unround kind of thing, and then round. I don't know. It's just. But then he makes a post saying that about fixing up the form or something. But basically, it's I've come to realize maybe I'm just not really suited to conventional deadlifts. Hello Haley, hope you're well. So maybe I might start doing sumo deadlifts. I did actually try it once and it actually felt a little bit easier. I think what I realized is that because with sumo deadlifts, well, for one, it does reduce the range of motion a little bit, but it's also just like, I find that it's just because it's at the stance, you're using a lot more of your quads and stuff. So I was thinking whether maybe it would be a good idea to try doing it that way, because it would I just find that it probably would make it easier to maintain good form. And it might be an issue with like taller people where they tend to find it harder to maintain good form on say a deadlift, because you're having to bend down more and you're having to like really lower yourself a lot to actually get to the bar. And what we would do to compensate at times would be try and, kind of reduce the range of motion somewhat to basically compensating for it basically. So, but from what I've seen, that some rounding is okay in the upper back because that's not an area that tends to be as prone to injury. So yeah, I'm just going to meet somebody. So it's not an area that's so prone to injury. So I would say like kind of, basically, it's like some people use rounding of the upper to help them lift more because then they're able to, basically don't have to like bend their legs as much. So it kind of takes some of the strain off their legs, and then they can sort of use more of like, say, their traps and stuff, and they would use like their upper back to lift it. But if you're, say, rounding the lower back, then that's where problems can happen. It's just a very like prone to injury. It's a very prone to injury area. Hi, little gamer. How you doing? All right. So welcome in, everybody. I hope you're all having a good day. So just talking about deadlift form and stuff like that. And maybe I should start doing sumo deadlifts. And I was thinking about whether maybe there's more carryover from squat to a sumo deadlift. I'm not too sure, because then we also have things like, you also need to have strong like adductors, and abductors, I believe. But I was guessing maybe it has more carryover to sumo than it has to conventional. So if, say, squats, then that's one where you're using a lot of your quads. But then with deadlifts, it doesn't really use a lot of quads because it's a hip hinge movement. Hip hinge movements are more posterior chain dominant, so your glutes, your hamstrings, your lower back, that sort of stuff. But basically, yeah. So, but with like sumo, it's like quads, adductors. I mean, you probably get some glutes as well, but it's not gonna be as much posterior chain, I believe. It's gonna be like, yeah, different muscles. So some people say sumo's cheating, but I just think maybe I should start trying to work that variation more to like kind of see how I feel with it. But I find that I'd probably find that I could maintain good form better doing it that way as opposed to the conventional way. So that's just something that I've been kind of like thinking about, that deadlifts aren't really something I do very often, but if I was to start really training them, then maybe focusing on sumo might be better for me personally. But taller people, I think they said that may actually be better off doing sumo, just because of the taller people might find conventional difficult because of, especially if you've got long legs. If you have long legs and a short torso, that's where people can struggle because of the increased distance that the bar has to travel. It's like, yeah, you have more muscles in your legs to compensate, but it can be quite difficult, and especially like it can also be, there's also more stabilizer muscles involved when you're taller, I believe, to have to kind of balance it. So I don't know, but some say that taller people can struggle. But then again, you've got Hathor whatever his name, Bjornsson, whatever his name is, who's done like 510 kilogram deadlift, and he's tall as fuck. So it is possible that if you're really tall, you can do well with conventional, but some say on average that, you know, shorter people might have an easier time with it because they're to do with leverages and stuff, like how high does the bar come up on you sort of thing. If you've got long arms to, you know, short legs, then that can help. But you know, if your leverages are like where it would come up quite high on me. Like if you've seen a video I've done it, it's like a deadlift would come up quite high on me. Like I'm having to go down quite low and then it has to come up quite high. So taller people might find that they have to, maybe it's better to compensate with sumo instead, I don't know. Depends on how you feel. Like if yeah, thank you, Jeffrey. Yeah, people not just automatically get badges for becoming like sort of yeah, I think they're trying to copy what like TikTok and all that are doing with these sort of things, but like I said, you know, it's just about kind of doing whatever you feel like is right for you. You know, there isn't a right way for everybody. I would say that you have to just go with what you feel like doing. You know, if you feel like a certain exercise is straining you or it's putting you at risk of injury, then maybe find a workaround or try a different exercise that is more suitable for you with your leverages and your also just your you know, just your kind of, you know, like your kind of proportions and stuff. So like, yeah, just hope everyone's well anyway. Welcome to my live. But yeah, generally, like, yeah, like I said, the deadlifts can be yeah, I mean, it can be achieved, but yeah, you would have to have very strong glutes and stuff to do it. I mean, you also have to have but your posterior chain in general has to be very strong. Oh, you have a storm on the way, right? Yeah, weather's been like unsettled. It was really raining hard last night. Oh yeah, Flamingo Land. Oh, I forgot about all that really, but I don't know. So I'm just like saying, like, with, you know, just trying to like, obviously I wouldn't want to get myself injured or anything. So, because like I said, I've looked at like form, and yeah, I could try and, you know, fix my form or whatever, but you know, it's just my form seems to just naturally break on, say, like conventional deadlifts. It's just like, it's like naturally your body wants to try and do it a certain way, the most efficient way. Sometimes that might be dangerous, but it's just like, maybe like for me, for being told I have to do it with a wider stance. I did see this video where someone did I think it was 490 kilograms sumo, but it was without any straps or anything. They did it row. But the thing is that because it was so heavy, the weight straps, the bar actually bent, so the actual range of motion was really low. The bar actually barely moved at all. So some people were like, oh well, but still, it was really impressive though. Still, but you're always going to get people try and like kind of diminish your results, because like they could do nowhere near that. So I think a good goal for me would be to be able to do 200 kilogram sumo. I think maybe even more. And that's without any straps. I would like to be able to do it without any straps. It shouldn't take me too long to get there if I really just put a lot of focus into that. But yeah, is everybody okay then? Hope everyone's doing well today. welcome in here. What's that? Bad form. So stay below 100 kilograms. Yeah, but if you're trying to like get stronger and like, you know, work on 1 rep max, then yeah, there might be like other ways of doing it, is what I'm saying. Depends on what your goals are really, but I want to try and get as strong as I can, and yeah. But yeah, like lower back is, yeah, you want to keep that straight from what I understand. But upper back, you can arch that because it's not as dangerous, I don't think, to do that from what I understand. I mean, it's just kind of like something that, you know, even like strongmen would even do that on purpose to give them better leverage for the lift, because then it takes some of the strain off their legs and the, like, you know, like the glutes and stuff like that, because then it allows them to basically lower themselves, and so it says it decreases the overall range of motion when you're doing it that way, because otherwise your body would have to like move through a overall greater range of motion, which is just going to like make the movement less efficient, especially at like heavier weights and stuff. Hi Janet, how you doing? I hope you're well. If anybody's new here, please subscribe. That would be really appreciated. I think, what's that? Rowing, I've tried doing it and I just didn't really like it. I don't know. I might try doing more of the ski erg, but I have given rowing a go, but I just kind of gave up. I don't really like it, to be honest. I don't know. I'm not really that into it. Just because it feels like if I go too fast, it's just gonna feel like I'm just gonna get thrown off the machine. I mean, not off the machine, but like that because it happened once where like I went really fast, and then like I came flying off the seat onto the bar. So I'm like, yeah, fuck that. So I've gotten my time to like, my max time was 1,000 meters. I got it to like 3:36.3 was my max. That's my record. So I've got a pretty good time on that, and taller people tend to have an advantage on that. So that's one of the things where I can actually do well on because of my height. Whereas a lot of things, being shorter is better. Like calisthenics, for example, like almost every calisthenics exercise seems to benefit shorter people quite significantly, actually, because like you see all these gymnasts, they're never hardly ever tall, are they? They're usually quite short. They're usually below about 5'9". They're usually about 5'6", usually. So yeah, it's just but it's like you have to go down up and down the slider and stuff. But you mean like that's the whole point? The whole point is that you're moving as fast as you can. Like you got in a lot of legs. Use a lot of leg drive to make the movement more powerful. I mean, it's just it would be good if they had a way to kind of keep you locked into the seat or something. I don't know. I just didn't really like it. I don't know. But maybe like do the skier, try and get that up. But like, yeah, power from the legs and lats. Yeah, it's mainly from those muscles, really, isn't it? Well, it's the back in general, really, isn't it? But it's kind of like it's like doing like you know, bent over rows and stuff like that with like the weights and whatever. You just had rowing in general with the weights, but it's like it's more of a cardio thing though. Hi SB Tussin. Or 2,000 meters. Yeah, that's going to be more endurance at that point then, isn't it? Yeah, I think the maximum that I ever did was like 1,200 meters. And I did that in like 5 minutes, I think. That was a while ago, but so yeah, 1,200 meters is probably the most I've done on a rowing machine. But the ski erg's more like, that's like posterior chain, a lot of it, I think. It's kind of like when you're doing a deadlift, it's like a hip hinge movement. I reckon I could get really good on that. Put a lot of power into it, and yeah, I've done like these like sprints on it and stuff, but yeah, like 200 meter sprint or something. But like I could try and do longer distances or whatever, but yeah. Hope everyone's well anyway. Yeah. I'm just like, I was doing these jump squats and push-ups last night, and that gives you a good amount of cardio. I was sweating like a pig. My clothes were like drenched after it. Like it was that intense. It was, yeah. So it's just like kind of, it's all about kind of condition your, not but like all your different systems, your cardiovascular system, as well as your muscles, for like, you know, like well-rounded fitness, rather than just being about bodybuilding and like, I mean, unless that's what all you want to do, but if you want to have good cardiovascular health as well, then just lifting weights ain't going to be enough, I don't think. Especially if you do it with a lot of resting time. Some of them are resting between 3 to 5 minutes between sets, which I think is, you know, you could actually be doing other exercises between then in order to sort of like, you know, kind of keep your heart rate elevated. So that's one thing that I would recommend. Yeah, thank you, Joshua. Yeah, so if anybody's new here, please subscribe. So like I said, with deadlifts, I might just start doing sumo and try and build that up. Because I just think those are probably better suited for a lot of taller people, really. Versus, you know, maybe like conventional's better for short people, I don't know, but it's just like, I don't know, just try and like kind of experiment with things and see what works. But yeah, so like I was showing you the other day, I did 105 kilograms on the squat. But that was like for 2 reps. So yeah, is everybody okay then? Hope everyone's well today. Welcome in. Russian powerlifter cleaner Anatoly in the blue boiler suit. Yeah, I've seen that guy. I'll tell you who else have you seen? Someone called Andrei, what is he called? Andrei Smayev. He's do some crazy lifts, that guy, but he's definitely on gear. But he's like, yeah. There's people saying that Anatoly was you know, like using fake weights or something, and it was all staged or whatever, but I don't know. I don't really look too much into these things. But yeah, Andres Smayev, absolutely insane. He's got the record, I think, for weighted pull-ups. I think he did 150 kilograms or something. I think he did a few reps at that, actually. He's also got some crazy records on, like, well, he's not like world record on, say, like bench, but it's like it's damn near like that, you know. It's like, I think he was repping out like 300 kilograms or something, or close to that at least. Anyway, I think he did like 200 kilograms for like 20 reps or something crazy, which should probably put his 1 rep max at over 300 kilograms. But I think that he was obviously going to be like focusing on different ones at different times, because you can't be like world class at everything at once. Like you can't be like kind of you can't have, say, like a 500 kg deadlift and like a 300 and odd kilogram bench at the same time, really. I don't think, because they're going to take away from each other, if you get me. If you notice, like the people with like the biggest totals, they're not going to be the best at any particular one. They're just going to be like, well, they're still pretty damn good, compared to most people, but they're going to be like more of a well-rounded. So they're not going to be as dedicated to one or the other. They're going to have a more well-rounded program where they have, if you know what I mean. Like they might have, say, like a 250 kilogram squat, maybe 300 kilogram squat with like maybe 350 kilogram deadlift or something, and maybe like a 200 to 250 kilogram bench or something like that. So these numbers are still crazy. I mean, it's numbers that most naturals would never get to on any of them at any particular time. Like it's I'm not really aiming for any particular stats. Like I said, I think that, I might start doing sumo deadlift and try and get to 200 kilograms row. That's without using any straps or anything, just row strength. Like, just and maybe like get to like towards 200 kilograms on the squat as well. But we'll see. We'll see how I get on with that, but yeah, maybe like something like that, really. When it comes to bench, I don't really do bench that very much, because there's a whole technique to it, and it's something that kind of confuses me, really. It's like there's a very specific technique to it, like when it comes to arching and all this kind of stuff, and I just can't be bothered with all that. I tend to just do a lot of usually body weight stuff. I've been trying to do like dead stop push-ups and stuff like that, but I might start adding more weight onto it or something and see how that goes to try and progress it. What helps with grip strength? Oh yeah, farmer's carry, I've heard that is good. Yeah, just like carrying around, like, say 30 kilogram dumbbells or something, or just like carrying them around for like a minute and trying to keep hold of them. Yeah, that could be good. Dead hangs are good as well for that, just like hanging on a bar. So there's all sorts of things you can do, but they say like farmer's carries are good for training different muscles and stuff, and yeah, it's like a functional movement. So, but yeah, it could be a good one to like kind of finish a workout on, to really like exhaust the forearms. But yeah, so is everybody okay today then? Hope everyone's well. Yeah. Um, sorry. Alright. Thank you for the likes, everybody. So, how are we doing today, everybody? You're all well? But like I was saying, I'm just gonna try and, sort of, I might try some more deadlifts today and see how I get on with that. So my record on conventional was 140. I almost managed 142.5, but I couldn't quite get it all the way up. But again, like I said, the form seemed to break down, especially at heavier weight, because just a lot of, like I said, being taller, I think a lot of people are going to find it difficult. You've got sort of like long legs, and comes a lot higher up on you. It's like, yeah, it's not ideal, really, is it? But like I said though, then you get people like Hathor Bjornsson who can like deadlift 510. But I'm like, how is he able to do it when he's like quite tall like that? Maybe it's just his proportions, I don't know, but it did look like the bar came quite high up. So, not sure how he managed to do all that. Maybe he just has the genetics, I don't know, but it's just how does he do that without his form breaking down? Because taller people, they might find that they're having to compensate a bit more with like rounding of their back. And yeah, but I'm talking like rounding of the lower back, which is dangerous. Oh, really? Okay, I'll have to let you know. Yeah. I don't really do any other things, really. I'm like, I do just kind of like a lot of bodyweight workouts, bodyweight circuits and things like that. I do a lot of that stuff. And I do it in a way that challenges the cardiovascular system. But yeah, not really much else at the moment. I kind of just go with whatever I feel like. I was doing medicine ball slams the other day as well. A few days ago I was at the gym, I was doing like the medicine ball slams. They're quite a fun like exercise, I find. Those are good for getting some aggression out, you know. But yeah, I do a lot of just training and stuff, and yeah. How much of it is food and recovery? I'd say like probably most of it, really, because what good is your training if you can't recover from it, and if your food is crap, if you're not eating the right nutrition, you're inflamed and whatever, then you've just thrown all your training out the window, you know? So I'd say actually like it's important to have these things in place as you're training. Everything is probably as important, so, but combined, obviously you've got the diet and the, like the recovery, the stress, all that kind of stuff. It adds up to probably being actually even more important than the training itself, because if any one of those factors are, suboptimal, then it throws the whole thing off. Like if your diet is off, then it throws everything out. if your stress management is off and your sleep hygiene, if that's off, it throws the whole thing out. You're not going to be able to recover as much, and you'll have less efficient workouts. So you won't be able to work out as long and as hard and as often as if you got all these things on point. It's actually going to complement your workout. So a lot of people focus too much on the workout itself and being all hyper fixated on very minute details of it. But sometimes it's this kind of like issue of we can only focus on so many things at once. And when we're focusing on small details that really don't matter that much, then we end up neglecting more important things generally. We end up sort of neglecting things like sleep and things like that, proper diet, because our mind's always focused on, oh, I need to do everything with a specific technique or whatever, but at the end of the day, it probably doesn't really matter that much. But yeah, it's just because your mind's can become overwhelmed with all these thoughts about, I didn't really like, there was something off with the form. If it was like a slight detail or something that doesn't really matter that much, and then get hyper fixated on it. Because that's the kind of like, that's why sometimes some of the smart people, they don't do very well, because they're always too kind of fixated on the smaller details instead of just focusing on training hard. Sometimes they're not even training hard because they're so focused on trying to do it with the perfect form. You're never going to do that. It's never, you would never actually do the perfect form. I mean, it's just, just focus on the intent of it, the intensity of it, and the basics really is what I'd put all my focus into, and the diet, the whatever supplements, whatever things that you want to do that actually works. Just yeah, that's true. Like with injuries and stuff, it's going to be a lot harder when you get older to recover. Yeah, it's good to try new things, but like we don't need to like overcomplicate things. It just creates more confusion, really, doesn't it? It's good to experiment just for the fun of it, really, rather than it being something that you feel like you need to do to get more gains, whatever, It just ends up taking the fun out of it. You just turning your body into some kind of science experiment when you just do it for the fun of it. You can experiment, but it's like you shouldn't really be doing it for the sake of trying to max out hypertrophy or whatever, because there's another thing where people keep on program hopping and stuff like that, and that actually kills their progress because they're too much doing novel things, trying to let's try and change how we keep changing the exercises, keep changing how they do them, and then because they've been told that you need to shock the body to grow muscles or something. It's like, no, you don't. I mean, especially not too quickly, because doing things too much can then lead to body not being able to adapt, because the body's like, well, what the hell are we supposed to do with this? We're constantly getting different stimuluses. Or stimuli, whatever, What are we supposed to do? It just confuses your body, and you can't really make any progress. That's why a lot of people end up stuck, because they keep looking for whatever shiny objects. They'll promise that this will grow muscle twice as quick, because they don't want to put the work in. They want the results yesterday instead of actually putting the work in that But I do agree that, you know, like it is good to, like I said, I was trying out the medicine ball and stuff like that, just for the fun of it, you know. I'll do random things just for the hell of it. Like I've been trying to mess around with Cossack squats, just to kind of like add a bit of variety and just, but you know, I mean, I wouldn't just keep like changing up my thing, you know, too much, but it is good to add some variety in though. But I would just kind of like focus on the intensity of it, and making sure that you're actually making the reps count. People get too fixated on rep ranges and things like that, but the question is, are you actually training hard? You know, are you actually really feeling like you're actually going, you know, pushing yourself harder each time? Or do you start to get into some kind of comfort zone with it? And because this whole thing of pushing yourself to failure, it's like a lot of people have no idea. And I think that what matters more is basically like, what is it called? Like, it's not muscle damage, because that's, well, I'll get into that, but basically it's the stimulus. It's the, is what you're doing stressing the muscles? Because if you're stressing your body, then the body has to adapt to that. When it comes to muscle damage, do you really need to have a lot of damage in the muscle to grow it? And some might say it's actually counter to muscle growth because of, but yeah, the damage, I think, but I believe a lot of it happens after your training because of the inflammation. So if anything, I would kind of think that having too much damage actually slows muscle growth. So if your focus is on trying to break down the muscle, then, you know, then it's like then your body then has to take longer to adapt. So, oh yeah, you take, so I'd say like, yeah, muscular fatigue, it's muscle stress. Stress is what, you know, makes you stronger. We adapt through stress. You know, so that's, but yeah, it's fatigue is what is the symptom of, I would say, of it basically, when you're feeling like, you know, like you're struggling to do as many reps at the same weight, you know, then you have caused a stimulus. But then afterwards, and you're like, you know, you're struggling to recover, then maybe that's an issue with your lifestyle potentially. So if you're too focused on the training and trying to optimize everything about your training, then you might be missing out on, okay, well, if your stress management is off and all that, then how is your body able to recover? Also things like inflammatory diets and stuff like that cause a lot of muscle breakdown, because I was looking into this, that you create a stimulus and then the body then has to adapt to that stimulus. But then too much breakdown, too much catabolism does the opposite. A lot of people think you need to catabolize the muscle in order to grow it, which to some degree it's inevitably going to happen when you're damaging the muscle, and it's going to start breaking down afterwards. But you know, too much of that is going to lead to inadequate recovery or just less training volume throughout the week. That's going to lead to slower adaptations. So that's kind of where I'm at this point with research on things, I just kind of see it as that, well, you know, that if you're not properly recovering each time and you're feeling a bit kind of groggy or whatever, then maybe you shouldn't be either look at decreasing your volume a little bit, or look at your lifestyle and be like, okay, is my lifestyle a good environment for building gains? Like, for example, is my testosterone high? Is my conducive to high testosterone levels? For example, if you drink a lot of alcohol, then that can really sort of, you know, especially if you're doing it a lot, can chronically reduce your testosterone levels quite significantly. You know, if you have like bad sleep hygiene as well as high stress lifestyle, then that also can really tank your testosterone. So when you combine these different things, you can see a massive drop in your testosterone, and that could be the difference between being able to train. Let's say, I'm not saying it as exact, but just an example. You might have been able to train every day at a certain intensity for a certain duration. You might be able to do half of that because of the drop in testosterone. Your hormones are all out of whack, and like your growth hormone isn't as high, your recovery capacity is lower. These things are gonna have a knock-on effect on how much you're able to grow. So yeah, you can be all focused on your training, but if everything else sucks, then what's the point? You know, you're just gonna be like spinning your wheels, basically. You're gonna be seeing much slower progress. You know, why not have everything dialed in? You know, if you want to really be intent on building it, you want to do it, you want to have everything all dialed, but you don't want to, you know, be messing around with just like, you know, when you have like chronically sleep deprived and you hate training because and it's not going to be fun, is it? You know, if you're stressed out, your testosterone's low, and every time you go train, you're not even going to like doing it. But testosterone makes hard work feel good as well, so you've got that. But yeah, there's actually Vegan Gains who's got on friggin' test and all that, and he's just I don't know. I mean, that's his choice.
Hang on, it's still red.
That's his choice that you know, he wants to do that. Personally, I don't know why he would, but I guess it's something that gives him a sense of like meaning in his life. So yeah, but there was all this stuff about him apparently like only doing it because he got divorced from his wife or something, and he's you know, hoping to find someone else, but then he's saying that that's not the case. I was watching this video, it's just like, I don't know. But the thing is, he was saying, like, was it Greg Doucette was basically like claiming that his products were like comparable to like, what is it, Tren and all that kind of stuff. I think he was saying that the effects was in terms of like, well, he was claiming that, well, whatever that is actually